Hi, Anir. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming in. How was the Walker drive?
It was a drive.
Drive?
Not too bad. Yeah.
Who drove you?
My mom. She dropped me
Mom?
off there.
Amazing. Right. Cool. Well, before we get going, I just kind of wanted to introduce myself, let you know about a little bit who I am, just to make you feel at ease. So yeah, my name is Sam. I'm a social worker here at the CMHA Thames Valley. Essentially, my role is just to have someone that you can bounce your stressors, your ideas, pretty much about anything that's maybe bothering you, or anything that maybe excites you that you want to talk about. Also, just before we get going, I wanted to confirm Dr. Cloud is the person who referred you?
Yeah.
Is that your family doctor?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And also, a little bit before we get going, I wanted to clarify what maybe a session's gonna look like and in terms of confidentiality. So whatever we share back and forth, it's disclosed information. It's not gonna leave this room. And I mean, the only time it would ever leave this room, that breach of confidentiality would happen, is if there's harm to yourself, if there's harm to others, maybe a child, an elder, it can be anyone. Do you understand? Or that? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, just wanted to be clear with you about that before we go forward. So if you're comfortable with that, then we can get going.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, all right, Anir. So, what would you want to talk about today?
So I came here because I just started a new program. I'm doing psych at King's. I've been here for over 2 years, and I just decided that sociology wasn't for me, and I really like psych, but now I'm having a really hard time with the content. And I've already switched my major once, and I don't want to do it again because the pressure of my parents to graduate. But I'm just having a really hard time with psych. The assignments are too much. The class lectures are overwhelming. It's not a good time for me.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I fully understand. And do you mind me asking before I ask this question, what year are you in?
I'm third.
You're in third year? Okay, yeah. So you mentioned the word overwhelming in relation to psychology. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
What about psychology that, say, major or classes? Is it major or class?
I feel it's a bit of everything.
Bit of everything? Yeah. What's overwhelming to you about that?
I think it's the course content and having to do large amount of readings. Sociology, it wasn't too bad, but I feel like with psych, there's so many pathways, and there's just a lot more content. And even the assignments are 45-50%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah. And if you want, you don't have to answer this, but is the fact that maybe it's 40-50%, is that part of maybe the overwhelm?
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It definitely. I think I'm so overwhelmed that I don't even know where to start. Like I find myself procrastinating the assignment just so I don't feel that anxiety.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. It as any university student, it must be tough. And it is tough, right? It's a very stressful environment, especially like you said, with assignments that are 40-50% worth. So I commend you for coming in and sharing that. That's very brave of you. In the past, in your first and second year, have you had any assignments or exams or tests that have been maybe worth the same amount, 40-50%, or maybe not, but that have given you maybe anxiety, feelings of anxiety and stress?
Yeah, I definitely find myself more anxious, especially during exam season. During the
Okay,
exams, that's when I find myself more not myself. If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, not yourself? Okay. Do you mind me asking, is this usually reoccurring? So you're in third year, so every exam
Yeah.
season, is this a common occurrence?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think with like times like this, especially during exam seasons, I tend to isolate myself, or avoid classes and classrooms, just so I don't feel that anxiety. Yeah.
So you're not really, you're not showing up to class?
Yeah. No.
Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Not showing up to class. Maybe that perpetuates the anxiety a little bit too.
Yeah.
So, and this usually this is a pattern every exam season.
This isn't new,
Okay.
but this is something I want to change.
Okay.
Or work
Want
on.
to change? Yeah. Okay. Do you mind me asking? Is there any thoughts, or like beliefs that maybe you're aware of? Like any thoughts that maybe bother you that have to do with, or like belief systems that have to do with like, maybe not showing up to class or being anxious related to these assignments and exams that are worth so much?
I think a big part of my beliefs is that if I fail, like I'll stay failing. Like if I fail an assignment, I'm set for failure. Cause like I'm looking into grad school, and grades are a really big part of that. So if I fail one class, that just, I don't want to say it defines me, but that's how I feel in the moment, like a failure.
A failure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you've used that word a couple times there. Why do you think that you're a failure if you fail?
I think I'm a failure if I fail because my parents worked so hard to come to Canada. They immigrated before I was even born, and they really emphasize education. Yeah. So if I fail my education, I'm not only failing myself, but like my parents as well for their work they've done. Yeah.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
You said your parents as well. You feel like you're not, and correct me if I'm wrong, you feel like you're not just failing yourself, you're failing your parents as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really brave of you to share that. Thank you for sharing that. That's got to be really hard. How long have you felt this way with your parents? All the way through your school career, let's call it?
Yeah.
Like through elementary, through high school?
Yeah, even in elementary.
Okay.
Like, I would find myself anxious in second grade over a spelling test.
Okay.
And I don't know how to work through this.
Right. You talk to your parents about this?
No.
Okay.
I've talked to my parents a couple times, and I bring up the pressure that they put on to me, and they always emphasize that it's for my own good. Yeah.
That's what they say?
Yeah.
They say that?
Yeah. I think because my parents grew up in a different time.
Okay.
So they're more stricter. Yeah. They have I don't want to say my life set in stone, but they have a vision of my education plan and my future career. Yeah.
So they have it set in stone, is what you said.
Yeah.
So, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like, just kind of rephrasing, it's like you feel like they've created maybe something for you, a vision, let's call it. In the context of school, they've created like a vision, and maybe you feel like you need to follow that. You need to follow through.
Exactly.
And if you don't, that's why you feel like you're a failure.
Yeah. It's kind of weird for me to say it out loud, because I've seen new space and I've never really talked to someone about this.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, I commend you for coming in and sharing that. That's amazing.
Thank you. It's good to get it off my chest.
Yeah. And How does it feel getting that off your chest? You said was that the first time you vocalized it?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, how does
really,
that feel?
I don't really have anyone to talk to because my friends, a lot of them are like out of the province and a lot of them go to different schools. I don't want to burden them.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like my family, I don't want to burden them.
Right.
Or them to worry about me.
Right. And that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Right? Like those feelings of burden, like it's. So, you said your friends. You don't really talk to your friends about this.
No.
And that's because of that fear of burden. Do you know, have any of your friends talked to you about maybe stress, or maybe they're in a similar situation to you? Have any of them
Yeah,
talked to
the
you
funny
about
thing is I'm usually my friend group's group therapist. I think people usually they come and confide into me, but I don't think I could do it for them, or like confide into them. If that makes sense. Like they're free to tell me whatever's going on in their life, but I just have a hard time opening up to them. If that makes sense.
So you say like they're free to come to you at any point, meaning like you're welcoming an open space of non-judgment and I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's an amazing quality and trait as a friend. I think you should be very proud of yourself for that.
Thank you.
It's not a lot of people are like that. But maybe you don't feel that you can't because, do you mind me asking, is it because of that fear of judgment, or is it just, again, going back to the burden?
I think a lot of it is judgment, and I don't want people to worry about me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So you're saying you don't want people to worry about you.
No.
Just to gain some clarification, so you maybe telling them about like your stressors being maybe some pressure that your parents are putting on you, or some pressure that you're feeling with school.
Yeah.
You feel like do you feel like you're deserving of sharing that with your friends?
I don't really know that answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
fair.
really know if I'm deserving. I'm trying to work through this anxiety, especially with school, but I just.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and we don't have to go down that. We don't have to go down
Yeah.
that avenue, that route. If you're not comfortable, or maybe I can reframe the question better, or reframe it in a different light. About a different question. When you're out with your friends, what's something that you and your friends like to do? What do you like to do to relax and get away from the stress?
A lot of it is movies, or like movie marathons. Like they'll come over and we'll watch maybe a couple movies, just us together, or we'll go out for like dinner.
Yeah.
Just nothing school related, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And that kind of helps you de-stress. Maybe I don't want to use the word distracts you, but
I think it is a big distraction.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Do you view it in a healthy light though?
I do, because if I don't distract myself, I think I become like hyper focused, and I'll wait for that notification from on my phone. Oh, the grades have been released. So yeah, it's a good distraction. I think it's a healthy one.
Okay, well, that's good. And you're cultivating your friendships. You're hanging out with your friends, and that's super important. And I think that's amazing that you and your friends can share something together that doesn't involve the anxiety and stress of school, right?
Yeah.
Do I have that right? Or?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Aside from your friends, and we can talk about your parents afterwards if you want to go down that road. Aside from your friends, is there something yourself that you use to maybe anchor or ground yourself when you're feeling anxious regarding school?
A big part of like my identity growing up, I grew up in like the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So I would attend mass, confession,
Yeah.
and I have all my like sacraments. So a big part of me is just sitting and praying, and or like talking to someone from my church and just getting that off my chest. I feel like it's easier to talk to someone at church because they validate my feelings, but they also help me look at scriptures of like certain situations in the Bible that help me feel.
Wow.
I don't know, not better, but not alone.
Wow.
Like, I usually turn to the Bible so I don't feel alone.
That's really amazing.
Thank you.
That's really amazing. Wow. I'm just taking it in.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
yeah.
But
Wow.
a big part of me, I think, being Catholic myself, it's a nice guide.
Yeah, sure. And is it fair to say too that that's like an anchor, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like a grounding, not grounding point maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Having that faith and it being so special to you is maybe a compass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weathers the storm maybe a
Yeah,
little bit.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And again, you don't have to answer this. How long? Ever since you were a child? Since you were brought up?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
I was baptized and everything.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. And obviously your parents, I'm assuming, are the same
Mhm.
Catholic.
Yeah.
Grew up that way.
They are.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Wow. When you're praying, what's maybe a prayer, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and again, you don't have to answer this if you're not comfortable. What's maybe like a prayer that maybe you say to yourself, maybe you say up here in your mind, in the past that's helped during these times that feel maybe, let's call them like stormy.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you use to kind of weather that
Yeah.
that storm?
So
Whether it's a
whenever I'm
prayer.
feeling like the storm or my anxiety,
Mhm.
I'm looking towards God for, I think it's a mix, like guidance, comfort,
Mhm.
and I don't know, maybe stability, so I'm not anxious in like the future. So I'm looking for guidance so I don't feel alone, and comfort so I feel supported, and then stability so I don't feel anxious. That's that's really big in my own prayer with God or my spirituality.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I usually look for.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And do you find when
I
you're
do.
feeling- Go ahead.
Sorry, but I find that's a really good support for me, because
Yeah.
I turn to prayer before anyone else or anything else. Like if I'm feeling anxious, I'll just pray before I before I have an anxiety attack,
Okay.
or before I turn to my friends.
Yes.
So prayer is always my first route.
Your first route.
Mhm.
Your okay. Yes. And it kind of maybe does it allow you to kind of look introspective too, right? Like
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
huge. That's a very that's a really good anchor.
Thank you.
And it's a good. I think that's a really good strength too.
Thank
that
you.
because in moments maybe that you are by yourself, you can use that to help lean
Yeah.
on yourself, right? And build that strength within yourself. I think
Yeah.
that's really cool.
I think
really amazing.
That's also why I'm here. I feel like I can pray when I'm by myself, but when I'm feeling anxious, like say in a classroom or a crowd, I can't get up and go pray. So that's a really big reason why I'm here today, is to find an outlet besides prayer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And besides my
Yes.
friendship or
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, like you said, you're here. Part of the reason why you're here is because you want to find that outlet. That maybe works in tandem with hanging out with your friends, prayer. Have you maybe can you elaborate on that for me? Have you given any thought of what that outlet could be?
one thing I do know for sure, it's not my parents. Like I can't go to my parents, but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm open to just about everything, or
Okay.
yeah, anything, everything. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And just remind me, you go to King's,
Mhm.
right? King's, and you're in your third year.
Mhm.
I know right now, since we're in September, we're the beginning of the school year. I know that every year they have clubs. They have, I think, sports as well, intramurals. I think. What about that? Does that pique your interest, or is that not really?
I think that would be good. I'm
Okay.
trying to avoid distractions.
Yeah.
I'd rather confront my anxiety, or like
Okay.
maybe like certain, not, I don't want to say rituals, but like steps, like maybe like meditation, or like
Sure.
just being able to feel what I'm feeling and just decompress it without the distractions, like clubs and
Sure. Okay. Yes. So more, because you do have. I mean, like you said, you do have your friends, and they don't necessarily provide a distraction, but they help you. They help ease that anxiety with fun things, right?
Exactly.
But I like what you said. Whereas you want to, and you said this early in the conversation. Like I want to, and I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
But like I want to get better, or I want to
Exactly.
feel better, and a part of that is confronting it head on. And I think that's really brave of you, and I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. So, I mean, at King's, would that be something such as like counseling, maybe,
I'm not too sure, because if it's okay.
Yeah.
Growing up, I just didn't really have that space to talk to someone,
Yep.
or just being able to say what I'm feeling.
Mhm.
I think like you've created a space today where I am comfortable
Mhm.
talking to you, but just like if I were to go with a different therapist, I think I would sort of retract, or just I don't think I'd be comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd rather work with myself, or like just have the tools for myself to see what I'm capable of before.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't really know why. Well, I know why I'm not able to, but I just think there was a certain situation in my childhood that I don't know. Like I don't think I remember as to why I can't talk to people.
About
yeah.
feeling anxious,
Yeah,
just in general,
exactly.
feeling anxious. Okay, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Would you say you want to work at your own pace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I think my parents, I think they both have anxiety, which is why I really want to confront my own anxiety. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I remember we were talking earlier in conversation. I said we can go down that route of your parents, and we can do that later.
Yeah.
Do you want to revisit that?
Yeah,
right now?
I don't think I was comfortable visiting that route then, but I think I am comfortable talking about my parents now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. If this environment, I'm always trying to create an environment that fosters
Thank you.
fosters non-judgment and welcomes that. So I'm glad that now you feel like you can share that compared to the beginning of the conversation. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's explore that a little bit. So your parents. I mean, and I'm paraphrasing, so just correct me if I'm wrong. Part of the reason why you're coming in today is because you have that fear of failure. You don't want to fail in your academics because you feel like you're a failure to your parents because they've created this path, this vision for you, and you felt that way maybe your whole life, your whole school life.
I think, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, I think my anxiety started maybe. Well, I think my parents always had anxiety about my future, and they put that anxiety onto me, if that makes sense. Or they didn't really deal with their anxiety, but rather channel it into their parenting.
Okay.
So I don't know if that makes
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
I understand.
Mhm.
Yeah. I understand. I do know what you mean. I just want to ask, if you don't mind, like more questions
Mhm.
about it, just to make sure I'm right.
Mhm.
So like into their parenting techniques. Just elaborate. What would that look like?
So a lot of that, they wouldn't let me go to my friend's house.
Yeah.
All my hangouts with my friends would be at my own home, like in an open space.
Mhm.
Or when I was a teenager, like a lot of their anxiety around their parenting was knowing where I was at all times.
Mm.
So like they had my location, they had my contacts on my phone,
Mhm.
and yeah, I could always tell that they were anxious, like whenever I was not in their presence. So if I was at school or I was at a party, they would wait for me to get home just to make sure that I was okay. But I feel like their anxiety made me more anxious as a child. And I feel like when I knew they were anxious, I was anxious. So we were all anxious, if that makes sense.
I'm sorry. That's
Yeah, that's okay.
I really like that's
yeah, it's okay.
and as a kid, like you don't know that, right?
Yeah, I was
like
like
it's
9.
how do you know that, right? Like
Yeah.
of course that's gonna make you feel anxious.
Mhm.
You're taking on your parents' anxiety that they have about you.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, yeah, we can explore that a little bit. So let's bring the context of school into it, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So let's say, have you ever had a bad grade before?
Yeah.
Everyone's had bad grades.
Plenty.
So in times where you've maybe had a bad grade, have you felt about bringing that grade home and showing your parents?
I think I was scared.
Okay.
A lot of the time I was scared or anxious about their reaction because I know they would nitpick.
Sure.
If I got let's say a B minus, they would say, "Where's the A? Where's the extra 10%? Or where's that?" Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A lot of pressure. Or they would be
Wow.
like, "Oh, like when I was in school, I didn't get this. Like I didn't take this home."
Wow.
Yeah, it was very.
Oh my goodness.
I think my parents' parenting styles was very cutthroat. So if they didn't like it, it wasn't acceptable.
Very blunt. It sounds like.
Very, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And it sounds like that's still something maybe you experience today.
Yeah, that's something I'm still. Yeah, I think that I am still experiencing that today, especially because they don't know that I'm still having a hard time in my new program because I haven't shared it with them.
Yeah. For sure. And do you mind me asking, are you scared to tell them that you want to switch out of psychology?
Yeah, especially because it's my second program that I'm in.
Okay.
And because I know if I tell them that I'm switching from another program, that's just more money that I'm wasting, and yeah, they won't be too happy.
Do you feel like you're wasting that money though? Like you?
No,
personally?
I don't think I'm wasting that money because I'm still investing in my own education.
Okay.
Like I'm still learning the material. It's just something I'm not interested in.
Right.
Yeah. Or I don't see myself pursuing in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think, or how's your perspective on this? Do you think the reason that your parents are so anxious is that they really care for you and they want the best for you?
Mm-hmm. That is something I do keep in the back of my mind.
Okay, yeah.
Especially when I'm anxious, I try to ground myself and remember why my parents are anxious.
Okay. Yeah. And the reason I'm asking that question is it's like just for clarification, not me insinuating that you should be grateful X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
More just to clarify and what your perspective is on that, because I think everything that you're saying, totally valid.
Yeah.
And totally fair. I think the amazing thing is that you know that if you wanted to switch, that's not a waste to you, because that's something. Psychology isn't something that you truly want to do.
Yeah.
If I had that correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm glad that before, regarding your parents, is there anything else besides academics that's stressing you regarding your parents and academics, or is that just kind of...
That's just something I do want to work on, yeah.
Okay, yes. Okay. So, just kind of to reiterate what you have been saying, you have that outlet. You have your practice of prayer. So that's your personal outlet. You have that outlet with your friends. Being able to have fun with them, take your mind off school. I think that's amazing. The one thing right now we're maybe trying to navigate and look for is an outlet to confront those feelings, and however on your own, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not with a counselor, but maybe some tools.
Yeah. Maybe getting the tools from the counselor.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe like almost like a homework. Like you assign me homework and I'll come report back.
Myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay with you.
Amazing. Yes, absolutely. Because I was going to say I can give you resources that it does involve having like a counselor on campus. Like King's does provide those resources. But if we want to take it baby steps, I'm just using that term, baby steps, taking it slow, we can absolutely proceed with this and keep this going. And if you feel comfortable, and if you liked this conversation we had, I would be more than welcome to have you back and have more of these conversations and give you tools that you can use.
Thank you. I do think I would love to come back. I feel like I can grow in a space like this and work on myself. Yeah.
Amazing. And like you said, the first step is of the journey is like it's going to be kind of tackling this head on. But I want to let you know that as the social worker, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, I'm someone that you can not only bounce your ideas and maybe your stressors off of, what makes you anxious, but also like your achievements and your goals and what makes you feel happy. So I'm here for both sides of it. Okay, well, amazing. So in further sessions, we're just gonna kind of, we'll keep doing this, keep talking back and forth, and I'll kind of slowly introduce maybe some tools. We could maybe introduce daily journaling, maybe a little bit of meditation, mindfulness. Those are just a couple examples. So we can do that. In terms of further appointments, let me write down my contact information, my name, contact, which would just be my email. So you can go from there. And then also, in terms of, you said you got dropped off by your mom today. Do you have your own vehicle?
I do. I do also drive.
Okay. So that's perfect. If you can't commute here, that's perfect. Otherwise, if you do need to have an appointment that's not here and you want to have an appointment at King's or somewhere that you feel more comfortable in, just email me and we could maybe meet up at King's.
Perfect.
Something like that.
That sounds good.
Perfect.
Right,
Well, thanks for
you.
coming in, Amir.
Thank you for your
Okay,
time.
we'll see you soon.
Perfect. 30. We killed it.